When I was 25, I came to a startling realization, sobering in fact. I didn't like my job. Actually, more than that, I hated that I didn't have a plan B. But why would I? I followed the map to success. After high school, I graduated from Brown University with a degree in applied mathematics. Shout out to all my Brunonians out there. And then after that, I got a job in technology at Goldman Sachs. I made it to Wall Street. I was the man, yo. I was riding this wave for about 10 minutes until it hit me. this feeling of unfulfillment. It was as if I was staring out at an abyss of just non-options. Until a friend of mine reminded me of my love for cooking. I think they saw something in me that I hadn't quite seen yet, because they suggested that I become a chef. Okay, chef. I didn't want to go back to school for 2 or 4 years again. And I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, so I reached out to about a dozen restaurants in New York at that time to see if I could work for them for free after my full-time job. Only one restaurant called me back, and it wasn't a chef. It was Morty. Morty, a general manager from this popular restaurant in the Theater District in New York. So we made arrangements, and the next day I met up with him at 6 p.m. as directed, after work. And when I walked into that dining room, it was the most beautiful dining room I had seen. There were these tall, vaulted ceilings. And then on the west side of the restaurant, there was this mezzanine that just ran the entire length. And as Morty led me through that dining hall, every table had this fine dining white tablecloth on it. Everything pristine, immaculate, everything was in its place. And I walked through that dining hall, and Morty led me to the stairwell. Well, when we started walking down that stairwell, the lighting got dimmer, and the ceilings got lower. Much, much lower. The polished floors and painted walls became exposed brick and unfinished concrete. And just as I was thinking to myself, what am I getting myself into here? We turned the corner to reveal the busiest scene I had ever seen, the back of house, kitchen. I remember thinking, there's so much stuff, so many people. And so when I got to my station, the chef came up to me, and he introduced himself. I introduced myself, Arden. And he said, Ardenon, I don't know where he got that from. He said, Ardenon, do you know how to peel a potato? I said, yes, I know how to peel a potato. This is it, this is my moment. I was confident. I know how to peel a potato. And so he handed me a potato, and when I grabbed it, I started peeling that potato with the greatest precision known to man. There was not an ounce of skin left on that potato. It was my masterpiece. And so I handed that masterpiece to the chef, and he looked at me and he said, that's not how you peel a potato. So he gestured over to another cook, and the cook came over and he asked the cook to peel the potato for me. Done. He was fast. Superhuman fast. And so with my ego recalibrated, I got to the prep table. And so for the next 2 months, I spent the next 3 days every night, 3 nights a week after work, every week, peeling hundreds and hundreds of pounds of potatoes, onions, and carrots. I did that before they even let me touch parsley with a knife. And remember, I did all of that for free. In most industries, you have 2 options, right? You take time off of paid work and pay for an education, or you take time off of paid work and you get an internship. In hindsight, when I look at my potato peeling stint, it was a sign of my privilege. I was in my mid-20s, I was single in New York, I was making good money, I didn't have any children or family to support. I could afford to work for free in that kitchen. But that's not everybody. In fact, most people live paycheck to paycheck. Most people do have children and family to support, and far too many people work multiple jobs just to make ends meet, if at all. If we want to live in a more equitable society, we need to rethink adult education. Instead of asking students to contort their lives around school, perhaps we as educators should meet them where they are. It just requires a little bit of flexibility, right? Maybe a little bit more than a little, but flexibility. It's a skill we all look for in ourselves, our employers, our employees. So after my potato peeling stint, I actually did go to culinary school, but part-time and definitely not for 2 years or 4 years, never again. And after I graduated, I decided to explore every aspect of the culinary world possible, from high-end dining restaurants to full-service catering to trendy cocktail lounges. I even did a stint in TV production. And then one day, my girlfriend's career brought us to Denver, where I came across an unusual job post. A job post for Comal Heritage Food Incubator, a paid training program that teaches immigrant and refugee women to start their own food businesses. What? I was confused. What were you, Comal? Were you a culinary school? Were you a restaurant? Were you a nonprofit? Well, I'll tell you. The answer is all of the above, right? Comal is all of those things. In 2016, a group of 6 immigrant women in the Elaria-Swansea neighborhood of Denver approached Focus Points Family Resource Center, a nonprofit in that same neighborhood, and posed this simple question. We all know how to cook. How can we use those skills to support ourselves and our families? And that simple question is how our non-traditional, holistic culinary school/restaurant Earn As You Learn program was born. And it did make for a slightly confusing job post, but I have to tell you that I did get that job, and today I am their executive chef and program manager. So here's how it works. We invite low-income and refugee women who already have skills as home cooks to enroll and participate in our program. We design our curriculum to supplement the skills they already have. We use their heritage recipes, meaning the recipes that they grew up with in their home countries, like Mexico or Venezuela or Iraq or Ethiopia. We use those recipes to teach them how to start and operate their food business. Every day, a participant is in charge of developing the menu. So you might come in one day and have a Jaj Bilfarine dish from Syria, a roasted chicken dish, for example. And then another day you might come in and have a variety of tamales from Cuernavaca, Mexico. Other participants, they get the opportunity as well to learn how to be a dishwasher or a prep cook, a line cook. And participants are able to earn a stipend for all of this because you beautiful people out there, the community, you come to the restaurant and you buy the food that they make while they're training. Remember I said they already know how to cook. By using these recipes, these heritage recipes that they grew up with, we're closing that gap between the trivial knowledge that you'll only use in school and practical real-world skills. How many of you can relate to that gap? When I graduated from culinary school, I had to learn about the 5 mother sauces. I went to French culinary school, if you remember. Sauce espagnole, sauce tomate, velouté, bechamel, and hollandaise. Now, when I graduated from culinary school, my first job was actually in a New Zealand and Australian restaurant in New York at that time. I should also tell you, growing up, I ate a lot of curry with turmeric as the main ingredient. Now, all of this is to say, when the chef at that restaurant asked me to go get turmeric from the walk-in, 2 things stuck out at me. 1, the turmeric was in a refrigerator. I had grown up with turmeric all my life. I didn't know it was in a refrigerator. I'd seen it powdered. The second thing that stuck out to me was that turmeric looks like an orange mealworm. Have any of you seen it? I was shocked. There was so much to learn still. I wasn't set. I didn't know it all. Knowing those 5 mother sauces from France, only gets you so far in the world. Except, hollandaise got me out of a few jams working brunch, I must admit. But that's why if you ask any great chef where they learn the most, chances are they'll say a restaurant and not a school. But that's true for most professions, right? So why isn't education then the primary responsibility of both the employee and the employer? Perhaps we could solve some of our corporate retention problems if we spent less time trying to find the right candidate, and we spent more time focusing our energies on nurturing the talent that we already have. Yeah. But that means we would have to see people as whole people, right? Whole people with full lives, exactly. We would also have to trust the fact, just like in high school, just like in elementary school, we would have to trust the fact that adult learners, where adult learners are right now, it's not a perfect indicator of who they can become. We would also have to be accountable to the fact that what an employee or a student needs to succeed might be radically different from what we expect. For example, one participant fled her country as a refugee while she was pregnant, crossing rivers by foot before even landing in Denver. Another participant, a grandmother, never made it past the 3rd grade because she had to leave school so she could work on her family's farm so that they could survive. Both of these women want to be entrepreneurs. They both can be entrepreneurs. But what they need to succeed will be different from each other. They might need resources you wouldn't expect to get from a culinary school or a restaurant, like housing assistance, medical assistance, food access. Another participant, she can cook her Durango recipes from memory consistently. That's Durango, Mexico. That's a skill all on its own. But to operate a food establishment, she would need to standardize those measurements, structure a recipe, and then communicate it with her staff. And so to do that, we identified that she would just need to learn a little bit more English than she already knew. So we included English language acquisition classes in her curriculum. By understanding what each student needs, by realizing that we need to be flexible in how we reach them, that realization, that's life-changing. Every nonprofit, every for-profit even, should see themselves as this: not a savior and not a master, but as a pathfinder, right? As one who lights a path for others by connecting them with resources outside of their network so that they can fulfill their true potential. Today, Comal has helped over 30 immigrant and refugee women. Many of them have started their own food businesses using their heritage recipes and lessons from the program. One of those 6 original women, Sylvia Hernandez, recently graduated and launched La Catrina Grill, using her recipes from Mexico City, Oaxaca, Puerto Vallarta. Another graduate, Erica Rojas, she started her business, Prietos Catering, highlighting her recipes from her native Guadalajara. I spoke to Erica this summer. I wanted to know if Prietos Catering was available for a catering event. She told me, "Chef, I'm on vacation." I said, immediately in my mind, work-life balance, work-life balance, work-life balance. Erica, you need to get off the phone, go back to vacation. We can do this when you come back, it's okay. Well, she did hang up the phone, but before she did, she revealed to me that this was the first time that she had been on vacation with her family in 10 years. For me, that means her restaurant is a success. The future of education, the future of employment even, it starts by acknowledging that people are whole people with full lives. We can make the world a better place for ourselves just by rethinking education's value in our lives. Thank you.